Hello, everybody. This is Marlo, Micah from Explorminate, and I'm back with the Lord of Rigel boys, James and Adam Rohrbaugh, and now we're going to check out the Skirmish mode in this little mini preview series that we've been having. So I assume, fellas, that I just click on this big blue button right here that says Skirmish.
Absolutely.
All right, and we warp factor 4, Mr. Sulu.
Just generating your galaxy here. Oh, please don't tell me. Oh, no. Oh, don't tell me the music bug just did.
What is the music
There
bug?
we go.
We're good. There's a music bug where sometimes it will look for a track that doesn't exist, and it kind of gets stuck in this loop. After a while, it will recover. But it'll make the load seem like it's loading for a really long time, but really it's just looking for a really long time.
Alright, so we've got a kind of mini galaxy here.
Yeah.
So you
It's
can
actually pretty big.
zoom out.
Okay.
You can hit a new galaxy.
Oh, what happens if I do that?
Yeah, just click it.
Oh.
Zoom out again.
Okay, we have a different galaxy, and I assume this is just procedurally generated somehow. Okay, and so it wants us to select a system for combat.
Yeah, and one of the things I wanted to do real quick actually was do two things, since this should be much easier to look around in. So if we zoom out, I wanted to show two nifty little things. There should be a pulsar in here somewhere, but it may not have a pulsar.
You might want to hit new galaxy again to see if there's a pulsar. I don't see anything.
Okay, but the other thing I wanted to show is I really like this feature. A lot of games don't do this, and I thought it was slick. Is if you look towards the left and zoom in a little bit more, and you go a little further left, and zoom in a little further left now again.
Okay.
See that star that looks like it has a second star around it.
Oh yes, I think it's.
So that's actually
Yeah, click on it.
So if you click on that,
Oh, I can't.
WASD over.
Let me see if that works. Nope.
oh, zoom out. Do you know what it is? It's that it's spawning too big of a galaxy for the space because they let it spawn larges, and it should only be a medium. So if you spin around,
Uh-oh, wrong button. There we go. Oh, look.
There you go.
There it is. Our little binary system here.
and so Lord of Rigel, I believe, will allow up to a. Actually, no, it will allow for a quad.
Yeah, you can
Star
have quad
system.
star systems.
And so players can see that in the galaxy map now. It'll show each of the stars orbiting and their class. So when you saw that little secondary star, that's actually the same star and type in orbit as the primary.
Okay. Well, you can get a mean sunburn in this system.
Yes. And then the other thing we'll do, because we weren't able to do it in the new game, is if you go back into Galaxy View,
Okay.
since we have a little more control now, I think blue's the prettiest. You see the blue nebula up towards the top right?
Sure.
Yeah,
Let's
there's
go
a
ahead
red
and
dwarf
click
star
on that star
right in the
that's in
center.
there.
Okay. Ah. Pretty.
So we have star nebulas. And then you can go ahead and select a planet for combat.
Oh, okay. Does it make any difference? Or does it
Nope.
just kind of provide the
Nope.
background? Or
It's really just the background for the fight that you want to have.
Well, nebulas do actually impact shields and beam weapon accuracy as
Yeah.
well.
oh,
But in terms of planet, it doesn't matter. There is no difference.
maybe we
Well,
ought to.
actually, it increases mineral content on planets. So there is a little bit of a difference.
The hard way, yeah. All right, I think I'll choose a non-nebula system for combat.
You don't want to
so we
fight
can see the
on-
standard.
Okay, sure.
Standard experience.
Let's see if we can find a pretty Earth-like planet, though, somewhere.
It won't be here.
Yeah. Pick
where would we
see
likely
if there's
find one?
Try that that
yellow-
big star, the
Oh.
Sothis. That
surface. That might. You got some radiated.
Radiated.
Minimal. That's a Mars-like. That would be a pretty battle.
Oh, the planet serves as a background?
yes.
Yeah,
So,
planets are in combat.
Yep. So you choose the planet. It would be like if you're in the normal game, right? And you're choosing an enemy colony.
Yeah, so
We'll
you can
fight-
adjust
Yeah.
cost and tech level. which is on the left.
So you'll see on the bottom left there's quite a few things you can do with this screen. So you can set your cost and your tech level, which is essentially setting up how big of a fleet you can buy for the cost.
Okay.
And then also your tech level, which is, how cool of technology do you want. So if you want to get cooler tech, you just turn up the tech level to like 3,500, and that'll give you mid-game technology.
All right, let's do that.
And then you want to turn up your cost as well, because obviously it's going to cost you more money.
Okay, so what would you recommend?
5,000.
You can do whatever you want to do.
Maximum cost.
And then you can design a new ship.
Okay. Let's do that.
You want to design for both the humans and the cats.
So we can build like a cruiser in here if you want. So this is actually using the older UI, so this won't be as nifty as the other one.
Oh yeah, there's no view button this time. That's
There's no view, there's no icon. So this is actually the older GUI. So people can kind of see we're making constant revisions. So again, this is early alpha, and you can see just the difference between the two screens just in the early phases of the game. So
right.
We have a lot more planned for the end game. We're just trying to get a working prototype.
All right, so we should have a weapon.
You should have, yeah, most definitely. My favorites in the game are ion cannons. I love ion cannons.
Ignores armor and structure. So
yes.
Goes straight for what? Systems?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Ah.
And you can make them heavy mount, auto fire, and continuous.
Oh. Well, that does sound like fun. And then, of course, we have...
phasers.
We have the usual suspects here. Neutron cannons, graviton cannons, phasers, Gauss cannons, or Gauss cannons. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. But a lot of the usual suspects when it comes to missions. I'm just reading them out loud in case you can't actually make out the text on the YouTube video. YouTube kind of funny about that sometimes. But and then of course over here on the right you get a basic description of what the weapon basically does, or what its shtick is. So all right, well let's go with your favorite. Let's go with the ion cannons, heavy mount, auto fire. Why not continuous?
Actually, you should ditch the continuous. It looks so much cooler with auto fire bolts.
I like these, but if you notice when you click continuous, it changes it from ion cannon to ion beam.
Oh, it does. That's very cool. That is very cool.
That took actually a bit of work to actually have it do that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
You'd be very surprised. We're like, let's have it do that, and then like a week later, the entire system was completely exploded.
I believe it. I believe it. All right, maybe I don't know. Should I change the firing arcs, or is that going to cost a lot?
It's going to cost you more space, but that's kind of up to the player, of course, and that's really the whole point of this mode, right? Is that the player can try various designs to see which one works for them without having to play the main game and find out through dying or risk the whole game.
You might want to click on computer system. Just to click on the blue text there.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize those were clickable. How about that? Okay.
Yeah. The updated version of the UI, we added those arrows to show that it's easy, that you can actually click on them and upgrade them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was one of those issues that the coders had. They're like, they didn't think that they could click on them either.
Oh no.
So they're like, we should really fix this. So I was like, well, you raise a good point.
All right, so I need a targeting computer of some kind.
Pick the best.
Yeah, might as well go for broke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you want to click on shield system, because you don't have any shields.
Oh, that's no good. Again, go for broke.
Yeah. And then definitely, you have to get better armor, man. You can't get the low-end stuff. I mean,
it's true.
Clearly, you're going to need the goods.
I feel like I'm at a car delership and they're telling me that I need to get the clear coat for the underside of the car.
Absolutely.
Well, ECM is a deluxe edition feature. Do you really need that?
Yeah, I don't know.
And then you can do stuff like add specials, which will kind of give you a variety of cool stuff. I'm always a fan of having heavy armor and reinforced structure. Just gives your ships a lot more durability.
Yes, heavy armor.
Yeah, heavy armor. That's always good.
Oh yeah, and structural analyzer.
Structural analyzer, that's a must.
And you want to probably have structural reinforcement too?
Yeah.
So you notice that your structure is a lot heavier now. A tactile scanner, you probably want that. That'll add to your beam weapon hit.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
So
this
now you have
ship's gonna be just
150 beam
neat when
attack.
it's done.
Where's my structure listed?
It's right under armor. So it shows your armor facings.
Oh, I see
And
now.
it shows
I
how much
see.
structure you have.
Yeah. Right there in front of my face, as usual.
Oh, but look, you have a -1 beam defense on this ship.
That's okay.
Is that because my drive is terrible?
Your drive is not so good. Maybe you want to upgrade your engines a little.
Yeah. Let's do that.
There we go.
Let's build this guy.
Oh no, we need more guns. Come on.
More
Get more
guns?
One
Oh,
gun.
fine.
Yeah, I can get more
Four
guns.
guns. 3, 4. Can we put 4 guns?
Nope.
Okay, 5's too
Well,
much.
we can do 4. We can do 4.
Okay, 4 guns. Let's build this guy.
Okay.
Because we got to build some kitty shapes too.
Now,
So, yeah,
should it have appeared somewhere here?
Nope. So
No,
you see on the top left, there's
Oh.
the list of names. You can
Okay.
just go ahead and click on that design.
Yeah.
It's
That
going to
would be
auto
this
edit.
one here?
Yep.
Yep. That's what you just built was the Lao Ling, and then
Build a few more. You have.
yeah, you want to build a couple.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I see. Out of 5,000 over here, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's build as many as we're allowed to build. That's
So you
gonna
want to
be it
go
right
to
there.
design on the right side
So we
as
have...
well.
We have 10 ships.
Yes.
Okay, let's build some ships that
For the bad
for the
guys.
bad guys, because they're not us, therefore they're bad. Okay, well, let's see. What would be an interesting weapon to give them that would show off something a little different than the ion cannon?
You can put on fighters and missiles.
Oh, that would be interesting since the human ships have basically no missile defense.
Mhm.
All right, let's do that. Fighters and
One of our coders absolutely hates the fighter system. The guy who implemented them. He's like, fighters are terrible. We're gonna axe them from the game. Every day he tells me that.
okay, what mods should I give them?
Fast. A couple of these, like ECCM is working, Merv is working,
Okay.
but Cloaked we don't actually have implemented yet.
I see.
Because we don't have cloaking text working quite yet. But when we add that in, cloaking will basically be able to make missiles go invisible, like the Skipper missiles in Wing Commander.
Right. Okay.
You might want to add some more fighters instead of just one.
I only have one. Oh, yes, I do. Hey,
Yeah.
how about that?
So you have one squadron right now, so you want to put a couple.
Oops. Clicked the wrong thing. Now, is there a, are there battle pods?
Oh, those are automatically added.
Oh, nice. Okay. I always felt like that was a strange... I mean, it was an upgrade that made sense, I guess. But at the same time, it was kind of like, I'm upgrading so I can upgrade some more.
Yeah, and what was really interesting with battle pods is that they really stood out different compared to, like, if you got Mega Fluxers, the game automatically equipped those. You never needed to equip it. And we were talking about that. And initially, we tried something like battle pods, and we're just like, why are we making the player add something that they would clearly want to add? In skirmish mode, actually, they'll probably be re-enabled because technically, players may want to try a design without battle pods to see if they didn't research battle pod tech and they researched something else,
Right.
how that would affect their designs. But in the primary game, if you research battle pods, we're not going to force you to, add them on, even though you clearly would want to do something like that. And definitely, I'm sure a lot of people who know Master Ryan 2 are like, oh, hey, gee, this looks familiar, in terms of the names and descriptions. And we will be adjusting stuff as we go. It's just not a huge top priority item.
Sure.
We're more worried about, can you blow stuff up and can you build colonies? But we will be kind of going through and trying to come up with some new names for some stuff. But some stuff just makes good common sense. Heavy armor. I guess we call it reinforced armor. Certainly we could do that. But some of the names just are kind of self-descriptive.
Sure.
So
Now, in terms of automatically upgrading things, what about things like the drive system? I mean, it would seem to me that once you've researched faster, better engines, why wouldn't you want to use them, right?
potentially it could be a cost issue, and some of the stuff, like if you want to make cheap ships that you can buy real quick, because Adam and I were talking about that too, and I actually felt the same way that you did, but Adam raised a good point in our design discussion. He's like, well, sometimes you just need to build quick ships and you can only build them quickly because they're cheap. And so if you're not worried about missile evasion or beam evasion, you just have a tanky ship, like it has heavy armor and structural reinforcement, you could get away with crappy engines.
Right.
But one of the things we will probably want to do is have it when you're in the ship designer, it will by default put the highest level techs.
Yes.
And then so you don't have to do like what you're doing right now, manually clicking and changing those options. But at the same time, you'll have the option to downgrade. Because say you need to build something real quick to defend your homeworld.
Okay.
Sometimes 50 cost points can really make or break it.
Sure. And it might mean the difference between getting the ship out in time for the defense and being just in time to be too late.
Yeah, exactly.
So there'll be a system in place where you can kind of quickly, I say quickly in terms of the player's time messing around the ship designer, quickly build the highest tech ship you can build, but then of course you have the option not to.
Exactly, yeah.
Alright, so on this ship, in case the viewers again can't read the text, we've got 2 fighter squadrons, we've got 3 fusion missile racks, and we have structural reinforcement, heavy armor, fast rack missiles, and an internal stabilizer to make them a little harder to hit. And then of course we've got the best armor we could get, the class 5 shield, best drive available, and I didn't bother with beam attack because this ship doesn't have any beams.
So you might want to build this and maybe create a destroyer class or frigate too.
Okay, we'll build that one, and then we will design a destroyer. Wait, did I click on the right thing? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, you did. There you go.
There we go. Let's see. Well, give me some guidance here. What weapon would you like to show off?
Well, we could show off a fusion cannon.
Or graviton beams are fun too.
Yeah, graviton beams are also good. Everything's fun.
Alright, let's go with the graviton.
And they all have.
Well, they also
shield
look
piercing.
Really pretty. So you could get just to really mess with the shield system on the other side. Is you could make them heavy mount, continuous, and shield piercing.
Or make them spinal mounts.
Ooh, yeah.
Instead of heavy?
Yeah, so spinal. Yeah. So spinal mount, and actually, what's cool too is if you actually click on heavy mount again, you don't have to de-click.
It
spinal,
just toggles,
actually,
yeah.
Yeah, it knows what rules can't be broken.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, that also took a long time to code.
But those little quality of life improvements make a big difference for the player.
Exactly.
All right, we'll give him some graviton beams, and of course he'll need some heavy armor and some structural analyzers and some structural reinforcement. And something.
Tactical engines, make them faster.
Oh yeah, there we go. And speaking of faster, let's get
Antimatter
and class 5 shields, of course.
Get the good stuff.
Yep, Zentronium armor.
This
naturally.
is the good stuff. Yeah.
Need a computer system.
Isotronics.
And no need for beam missile defense.
Yep. You're pretty much built up at this point because you only have about 11 points.
Yeah, you don't have enough space to put anything else on.
I can't even add another graviton beam, can I?
Nope.
No, because your space is 60.
Yep, over budget. Okay.
But spinal mount weapons are even more heavy duty than. Yeah, you can change the name.
Oh, okay. That's cool. All right, well, let's build this one then.
All right, and just fill it up with
Okay,
2.
let's get...
And you see the balance of power bar changes too
Oh, okay.
as you add
I
ships.
see that. Well, we want to make sure we have a few of each.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'll just kind of make it even.
I am really worried about these missiles and fighters, but let's see.
Let's see. This could break it all.
All right, viewers, prepare for a potential crash. I think that's what we're
Yeah,
telling us.
prepare for potential crash.
All right.
So these guys have had how much time to get missiles and fighters working?
Yeah, but Vu just absolutely hates missiles and fighters. They have a lot of specialty rules.
Yeah.
Right.
Let alone when we get torpedoes implemented, it's going to be even more.
Okay, so our costs here are close to even. The humans have a little bit of an advantage, but it's only about 100 points. Okay, let's hit start.
Yeah, the balance of power bar.
Should work. There we go.
Okay,
All right.
we have our kind of standard grid-based tactical battle screen. There's our planet. And
So-
we can zoom out, I assume, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can zoom in really deep. Double click on one of the ships, any ship that you want.
Also, something
Uh-oh.
else you might want to do. Oh,
There we go.
Zoom out a little.
A little too close.
And also, if you click the menu button on top,
yeah.
you can toggle on and off stuff like firing arcs, the grid.
Okay. Well, let's leave
Well,
things.
but fiddle with it. You know, turn on the firing arcs.
Firing arcs. Okay.
So you need to click on a ship.
I need to. Okay, let me get rid of the menu here.
You have to click menu again.
Oh, this one. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could probably add in a right click to dismiss it. So
Oh,
click on
okay.
a ship.
And
Yeah,
there-
see, it's got firing arcs.
Now the
You can also press G to make the grid go away.
is the so the highlighted area is where I can move,
Mhm.
Yes.
and the lines radiating out from the ship. What's that?
Those are your firing arcs, so that will tell you what's front firing, rear firing, side firing. So players can kind of see, okay, if I angle my ship in this position, will my front firing weapons or whatever weapon system they're using that's limited by arc,
Right.
they'll
Oh,
tell
okay.
you, okay, this will actually hit or it won't hit.
It also shows you where your shield and armor facings are. Because unlike Master of Orion 2, we've divided armor on ships into multiple facings as well. The idea being that it encourages players to do things like flanking and outmaneuvering their enemies.
Right.
Also, just plain any ship, if you hit the rear armor or shields, they'll get a flanking bonus.
Okay. Now, with that,
So-
now there's a blue ring around this ship, and there's a yellow ring.
Mhm.
Is the yellow ring the armor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the blue ring then would be the shields.
Yes.
Yes.
And then down below, there's a red dotted line and an orange dotted line. What am I looking
Mhm.
at there?
That's going to be structure and internal systems.
Okay. And the red is structure?
Yes.
Okay, and then if I hit systems, I can see all the systems on this particular ship, which of course we know
Yep.
what they are because we put them there, but if we were playing the game in its traditional mode, we might not know what the enemy has, and we could check that out.
Yes. Yeah, and you can also click on scan
Scan.
up on the top.
Oh,
Yeah, on the top bar. Click on scan, and then click on an enemy ship.
and it tells us what they have,
Mm-hmm.
and does it give us any information? Okay, it tells us our beam of defense up here. And,
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
It's just like a big stat card.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
How
right
do
click
I-
out.
Oh, right click. Okay. So, now whose turn is it first? Is it attacker goes first?
Attacker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we might as well march straight into the line of fire. Might as well get the fireworks started as quickly as we can.
Yeah. Something else you might want to try. So click on a bad guy, or put your mouse over a bad guy.
Okay.
Hold down the left mouse button. Now you can target a subsystem.
Oh, that is amazing.
So you can directly target the computers, the drive system, the shields, the weapons. If you do special, it will randomly target any of the special systems installed.
Okay.
And same with weapons, it will randomly just target various weapon systems.
Now, are the chances... Now, it says underneath of here that my chance to hit was 100%. Is my chance to hit a subsystem any different?
It's going to be minus 50% for a called shot. But since you put on that tactical computer on your ship, that will offset the cold shot penalty.
All right, well, let's take a shot at the weapons, because their weapons kind of scare me.
And it has to penetrate shields and armor to do the cold shot damage.
Oh, okay.
But what you can do is, I was talking about before, you could have a bunch of small ships, and you can get the rear shields weakened by doing a flanking attack, and you could do something like take out the drive system or the shield system with knife attacks.
Right.
So, you have these games like Master of Orion 2 or Endless Space where it's all about building these giant ships, and even Galciv gets that way. Here, you're rewarded for being able to build smaller ships and outflank the enemy, use your brain, and do things like use call shots to disable a ship. So somebody could have a big planet-killing starship, and you can knock out the weapon system, and it's totally useless.
So would it do me any good to target a subsystem at this point?
Just do it for the sake of doing it. See what happens.
All right, let's try the weapons.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it fires. You might have to do it again.
No, it's been selected. Now he'll actually have to fire.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yes. Click on it, and now fire. Let's see what it did. It disabled the ship.
Sweet.
And I think... Did it knock out a fighter squadron? It may have.
No.
I don't remember how many we put on there to start with.
Uh-oh.
It's hard to say.
Actually, check out another one of the ships, actually, because that'll tell you...
Oh,
no,
it didn't take out.
No, it didn't
Okay.
disable.
It just got disabled. We might want to double-check that it's actually doing the rules correctly, and that's not just automatically going after engines.
Yeah.
Now, what caused the ship to be disabled? Was that a function of the ion cannon weapon?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so essentially you were able to actually hit a lot of internal systems and knock out drives.
I'm gonna shoot.
And it ignores...
But I still don't think it... I still don't think the cult shot rules work.
Yeah, we'll need to... And that ship's drive system exploded, which caused a little warp core breach.
And then if you look, there's floating debris, which is one of my favorite features in Tactical.
That is amazing. Now, here's a question about combat, and I think, this is, again, it's a one of the traditional criticisms of Master of Orion 2 is, and when it comes to combat, is that very often the player that goes first really has an advantage. Because, like, right now, I've destroyed 2 of their ships, and they haven't been able to do anything.
Yep.
So, I'm curious what your thoughts about that are from a game design point of view, if you have any ideas about how to, if you think it's a problem, how to solve it.
Well, some of the stuff we were discussing early on was using a initiative system where every ship, based off of basically its beam attack and beam defense, gets set in order. So instead of like one whole side going first, it would be something where, say your frigates have really good computers and really good engines, and those would tend to go first, and then the larger ships. It's something we might experiment with. Right now we wanted something that we could quickly test and prototype, so that's why we're using this system.
Okay.
But it is something that we brought up a lot. Our concern about doing an initiative system like that would actually make the pacing even slower.
Yeah. I actually, personally, I'm maybe a little bit of a grognard about this. I will freely admit that, but I love turn-based combat in strategy games. I don't usually like real-time combat in strategy games, so I'm so happy to see my old favorite return. I'm afraid to keep shooting because I'm afraid we won't get to see any of the enemies.
Which is fine. We can actually just you can go ahead and hit turn, and
and then we should be able to see some fighters getting launched and zoom in, provided it doesn't decide to crash. Ooh, look at that! Did they pierce your shields? Let's check out. Okay, their turn is done. Click a ship.
Oh wow, that went really fast.
Yeah.
Except something broke. It shouldn't have done that.
Oh, it's not supposed to be that fast?
No.
Yeah, they're supposed to go one at a time.
Boo, that one's for you, buddy. That's one of our coders. He's been working on this.
I'm not so sure that's not a feature.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, don't encourage him because oh, it's a feature. It's a feature.
I have to admit, there were times in large battles in Master of Orion 2 where you just feel like it takes forever for the AI to go, But.
And that's definitely one thing we're trying to avoid. That's why in this game there'll be a 36 ship per side cap on how many ships can be on the map at one time. You can build larger fleets, but imagine like in the Total War series when you have too many individual units, you can call in reinforcements.
Also, zoom in on the missiles and fighters. So
Okay.
just so on the bad guy ships, just scroll and zoom in on them. So just scroll all the way in, even more in.
Okay, I gotta focus. As far in as it'll let me go.
Okay,
now double click on one of the ships, and then it'll go into free cam.
Right click, because right now it's going to fire and try to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and double click on one of the ships now.
Okay.
And then you can rotate the camera, and you can look really close at the fighters and missiles.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, if I do it too much, they disappear. But
Well, you can zoom out a little and just.
So this actually uses the same camera that the system view camera has, so it's pretty much identical controls, which we felt was, like all things, kind of a design compromise, because free cam is nice, you can kind of look at any angle, but at the same time, sometimes you end up kind of fighting the camera around the map.
sure.
Where this is a little more logged and controlled, you still get 3D perspective, you can click on any ship you want. You can, in fact, if you click on like a human ship, for instance, you can enjoy the fight in 3D. So actually, if you click auto, AI should start auto-resolving the battle.
Yeah, just actually click auto right now.
And you should be able to actually just kick back and relax.
Up here. Oh, poor AI. Didn't have a chance.
Or just there we go. Okay, yeah, ship just started to flank it. Yeah, see, the AI is smart. It actually tried to flank the bad guys.
Wait, where's that? Oh, over here.
Yeah, it decided to flank it.
That's interesting.
Curious why the turn stopped though. I'd hit next turn. Maybe something froze.
I think something may have froze.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh no. Oh, it just didn't. It didn't do.
It didn't let the
AI
press.
Yeah, I think it's just doing auto for each side.
just for the player. Yeah, and then it stopped auto, and you won.
Yeah, oops. I think I understand why you like the ion cannon so much.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those things that we'll have to adjust. There's some stats, and we already did this with one of our species, where it's like, man, this sounds really good in theory, and then we get in the game, and one of our coders is like, so I'm playing this species, just testing out the traits, and this species just seems like they're just gonna die instantly. like they don't make much food, they don't produce too well, and they're not researching great. So it's like it's like these other traits would be good, like when you get to that point. But the problem is, it may be next to impossible to get to the point where that trait is useful. So yeah. So there's stuff like that where we'll kind of go through and we'll keep kind of tweaking and play testing, and we're definitely looking forward to, with our Kickstarter campaign, we'll be releasing just the skirmish mode like what you have. It'll be a little more enhanced because we're going to have the newer ship designer that you saw in the new game mode that will be in there, and some other little cleanups. And so players can kind of play that, give us feedback, and then backers of the campaign, once the campaign's over, they're actually going to get a enhanced version of Tactical, depending on what tier that they buy in at, where it'll have stuff like shipboarding, and those sorts of things. We'll have like planetary defenses, all that stuff. And then also, if you get at a certain backer level, you'll have access to the game in an alpha state. So we're hoping in the next few weeks that we'll kind of have ship combat and all that stuff integrated into the game. And all those systems are kind of like laying half ready to go. So we're working on getting a great patching system in place so that players that or people that back the campaign will be able to download a launcher that will give them access to the game, and then as we are updating it on a regular basis, we can just make those builds and then they can just grab them and keep updating their copy of Lord of Rigel.
Ooh, that sounds like fun. Now, you mentioned the Kickstarter, and I know we talked about this in the first video that we made, but I think because it's a few days later now in the future.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about the Kickstarter campaign again. When is that going to start?
So that's going to start September 28th.
Okay, and it's going to last. The usual time is a month, right?
Yeah, we're going to do 60 days.
Okay.
And the reason that we're going to do that is to just kind of give people time to kind of buy in. And obviously, we're a small company. We're still trying to get the word out there. And so we think that will give the campaign the most time to actually be successful. Because there's no point in us getting $40,000 in donations, because we need 90 to get the game completed. So people can give us 40 and then nothing happens. So we really obviously want to make this happen. We want to reach our goal of $90,000 so that we are able to complete the project and swear, Scouts, honor that we'll complete the project. And I know there's, as a gamer myself, I've seen so many other games out there. Yep, we just need this money, to complete the project, and nothing happens, or things get extended. For us, we have a team of experienced people that know what they're doing, that have seen a game through to completion, so they kind of know at each step of the process kind of what it takes, and we know in terms of what our labor needs are and what our cost needs are. This is the number of months it will take to complete the project. The whole game is by and large designed, and we've made little changes and fine-tuning stuff as we go through things. We're like, oh, this didn't quite work out right, but all the core features are set up. There won't be any feature creep where we get into a system and we're like, oh, wouldn't it be great if we added this, and this? And sorry, guys, it's going to take an extra 3 to 4 months to implement this, and boy, it'd be nice if you gave us another $10,000, $20,000 to do this. Lord of Rigel really is, we have it planned out. We plan, as a company, if we can get Lord of Rigel released in the long term. We really want to build a community with this. In fact, our first goal with our stretch goals for Kickstarter is going to be a moddable version of Lord of Rigel. We want people to take the game and make it their own, and something that we can build a community with. We have plans for downloadable content, so people can expect custom music for each species, custom buildings for each species, custom ships. We obviously have, each species has its own ships now, but what players expect to see is just more variants of things and building secondary fleets. Another thing we've kind of talked about doing, and of course, if we reach these stretch goals, we can get feedback from people as to what they would like to see. But you've also suggested changing designs with what phase of the game that you're in. So if you're like in a pre-warp stage, your designs are kind of not very sophisticated. So we just played with the humans. So maybe the human ships would be like very simple. And just kind of like basic ships to get them out of orbit, and then by late game, the ships are much more intricate and complex. Sure. So we have kind of all sorts of stuff like that lined up. We have ideas for expansion packs, looking at species with more species, but also species that have different gameplay types. And I know that's one thing that on various forums people have asked about, and we do have plans for things like that down the road. But obviously, Lord of Rigel is a huge game. Any 4X game is just huge.
Now, what happens if the worst happens and you can't raise the $90,000 through Kickstarter? What are your plans at that point? Will you be seeking alternate funding routes, or do you have those kinds of contingencies?
Yes, so we do have some contingencies in place. There are some people that we can contact to try to get funding if we need to. And then certainly one area that we would like to look into as well is working with GOG and working with them to, they have a program for indie games. So we're looking at having on the 28th for the Kickstarter as well kind of a working prototype of the game that should let you have what you guys saw today, plus there'll be some more stuff with the AI being able to build fleets, and just essentially an essential core game where you, the player, can build up a colony, build and design fleets, kill the AI and fight against them, or they can fight against you, and essentially you can win purely through military.
Right. So the basics of the game you expect to be there.
Yes.
And now, and you mentioned GOG. I assume by that you mean GOG.com.
Yes.
And I was actually going to ask you if you guys were planning on releasing the game. I know that obviously you've been posting a lot on our Steam forums, and I'm sure you'll want to release it on Steam. But I know that we get players who are a member of our Steam group but really like to buy games, from GOG because of DRM issues and things like that. But it sounds like that is part of the plan.
Yes, most definitely. We want to release on kind of any digital retailer that works. So definitely GOG, that's definitely one direction we want to go. Steam is another. We may get into direct selling ourselves. It just kind of depends. All of the logistics of that and stuff like that. There's a lot of tax and business end of things to sort out. Because at that point we would be like an online retailer. But yeah, we kind of want to work with a variety of platforms and kind of give people a variety of places to purchase their game from. Because it just makes logical sense. The more places that people are able to purchase the game, the more exposure that we're going to get, and also just gives people freedom of choice. So I think it's kind of a win-win for us and a win for the consumer as well.
Now I forgot what I was going to ask you. Hi, I'm great at this. If people are some folks might want to help fund you, but might have some reservations about Kickstarter. Are there any other ways that they can throw their money at you?
So currently, we really don't have anything else set up. If people would like to contribute to us and not use our Kickstarter, of course, we're going to encourage you to use Kickstarter, right? Because I'm assuming more people than not are going to contribute to Kickstarter, and the more money that we can put into that, the closer we're able to reach our goal and make a game for everyone. But if people want to do something not using Kickstarter, they're more than welcome to reach out to us directly. And they can reach us at contact@rhombus-studios.net. And they can reach out to us. Adam and I check that email regularly. That's just kind of our corporate contact email. And you reach out to us, and we're more than happy to work with anyone wanting to support the game. Because ultimately, it's not just about Lord of Rigel. It's about building a whole company, and we want to have long-term loyal customers, and we want to be loyal to you guys as well.
Now, just to get away from all the boring funding stuff, as important as this is, obviously, Lord of Rigel is heavily inspired by Master of Orion 2. I mean, it's you can see that when you look at the interface and the names of the technologies and things like that. But I'm curious to know what other games have inspired you, that you have gotten some good ideas from, that have made you think, boy, wouldn't it be great if, what would those other games be?
I'd say the Endless games have been a pretty heavy influence, especially on some of the user interface adjustments that we're going to be doing. How they do things like tooltip breakdowns, and a lot of just general usability. We're hoping to add a little more pizzazz and flair to their sometimes awfully minimalist approach. But in terms of just UI advancements, definitely Amplitude are some of the people that have done probably some of the most advances out of a lot of the games the last 10 years.
And I think another place that we've drawn a lot of inspiration from is the Civilization series. They've done some great stuff. In terms of, I especially enjoy their diplomacy system. I think it lays stuff out in a way that is very intuitive for the player, not just to use, but also to understand what is going on with trade negotiations. Or I especially enjoyed how Civ lists out what factors the AI is using to determine whether they like you or not, or what the success of a deal is going to be. So that's certainly another place that we've looked. And one of the things that I really liked, and I'm hoping if we can make Lord of Rigel work for everyone, and we can get it released, and we can get an expansion out there, is I absolutely loved in the expansion packs for Civ 5 the culture system. I just thought it was just absolutely smart, and it provided a very different way to play the game, a different way to kind of build an empire. I'm not quite sure we want to do something directly like culture in terms of how its mechanics worked in Civ, but something like influence I definitely would like to bring into the game, where players can use influence to kind of exert control in an indirect way on other empires, and use that for things like inciting rebellions or making it easier for treaties to occur and stuff like that. So,
all right.
There's also a few mechanics from Sword of the Stars that we are implementing, but also trying to execute in a little more of a nuanced sort of way. Grand Menaces were one of the things that Sword of the Stars implemented to try to shake up the end game. And we're going to be doing similar mechanics with Lord of Rigel, having galactic scale threats that will require you to team up with sometimes even your hated enemies to deal with
so the game's marching
existential
along,
threats.
and all of a sudden the Borg show up.
Yes, or the Flood from Halo. Really large-scale things that really shake it all up.
Right. That'd be great, because, one of the problems, obviously, as you guys both know, with the genre is that sometimes, well, let's face it, a lot of times the late game, even from developers who are very skilled and with the best intentions, can get a little tedious.
absolutely.
And one of the other big things that we're trying to do with the end game is this whole idea of the Cold War between the two elder species in the setting, the Rigellans and the Arcturans. So we're kind of taking a page from Babylon 5, where you have the Shadow War, and you had these two big older races that at first are kind of guiding the younger ones through the shadows, and then later it turns into a big all-out war. And that's something we're trying to do to make the end game a bit more dynamic. Is sure, you might have a planet killer, you might have a Death Star-sized spacecraft, but you're still dealing with these Galactic Council votes, and if you piss off the Rigellans, they're now detonating novas, and entire systems are getting wiped out. And you want to make sure you don't make the Cold War hot.
Right. All right, guys, you heard it here first. They're inspired by the greatest science fiction series to have ever been made. So, obviously, this game will be fantastic. We're going to have to stop this video here. We've gone significantly longer than we usually go, but I have to admit, I could talk about this all night. I have really enjoyed what I've seen here. I'm sure that the boys down at the labs and Rumbus Studios making Lord of Rigel will be bringing us some more content as time goes along. Of course, we wish them all the luck in the world with their Kickstarter, and encourage folks to go check out the Kickstarter page when it's up. And, if it looks like a game that you'd like to play, think about donating something. Otherwise, I'm sure that the discussion will keep going about this developing gem on our forums. So we'll see everybody in whatever video happens to be posted next on this crazy channel, and we'll see you all on the Steam forums.